people are scared to ask.
Yeah.
You know, we are naturally terrified of that word no. But it's never given anyone a cut lip. It's never knocked you on your back. It doesn't hurt, you know? When you go up to people and you go, hey, I'd really love to be able to do this. What's got to happen in order? So for a start, you're not asking a question that they can say no to.
Right,
exactly. That's all stuff that I've done because quite simply I asked. And then later on, I realized that so many people are terrified. Just imagine what you could get if you dared to ask.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm super excited for this next episode with a special guest that's flown in today. I mean, how many of you have known people that have had a chance to work with Elton John or Elon Musk or been able to send people down to the wreck of the Titanic? I mean, those are some really cool experiences. You know, Steve D. Sims is here today with us, and he's quoted as the real life Wizard of Oz by Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine. And Steve Sims is the best-selling author of Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen, and Go for Stupid. I do like that name.
Great
so
title.
Go for Stupid, The Art of Achieving Ridiculous Goals. So I love that book title. I still have to read that one. I've read the first book, but it's on my list for sure. You're a sought-after coach and top-rated speaker after keynoting. He's actually just came from a keynote today to come into our show, so we're super grateful. Thank you so much, Steve, just for coming out here today.
Oh, it's an honor.
Oh, I love your story. I love your backstory. I love how much work and effort and just relationship building and connecting that you've done within like just building your own personal brand. And it's just incredible. Can you share a little bit more about how this got started? I know more about your like stories of.
I don't know. I want to know.
We want to know.
Like, yeah, we want to know.
I've heard so many cool things, like how you started when you got in touch with Elton John and all these things. Share a little bit more about that backstory.
The actual the hinge that started this journey is no different to any other entrepreneur on the planet. You know, I was a combination of curious and aggravated. You know, as a bricklayer, and you're all the same. You know, as a bricklayer, I knew I was working hard because I'd get up at 4:00 in the morning, come home at 8, but I had no money. I was wet. I had no future. So what was going wrong? So I had that aggravation and that curiosity to know what it was. And of course, being older than Google, I didn't have have Instagram to point out how inadequate my life was. So literally, I would just run up to people in bars. I would see someone, and of course, when you're built like me and you look like me, that didn't go too well in the early stages.
They run out.
Yeah. Oh, I had people run away. But the funny thing was, I learned I wasn't asking a bad question. I was delivering it badly. So, I would eventually just run up to people and go, hey, how come you're rich and I'm not? And then you would see them hightail it out of the restaurant.
Yeah. Because they're like, are you going to rob me?
Yeah, no, exactly. And then it was a case of, hey, I'm curious. You look as though you got your shit together, How come, you're so successful, and so many, what advice would you give to someone wanting to be you? And so I just had to rephrase the question and I started getting answers. And I started trying to give back because I learned very early on that if you want to be in a relationship, you got to bring something to the party.
Right.
So I was a doorman of a nightclub, so I used to know where the nightclubs were and all the party. So I'd be like, hey, did you know there's a new club on let me see if I can get. So I was the Google of nightlife before there was Google. And it just got bigger and bigger. And I was getting people in the clubs, then I was getting people in the movie premieres and then, film shoots and on stage and off stage and backstage. And it just grew. And I went from getting people in the nightclubs to hanging out with Elton John in his Oscar party and working with him for 8 years. So it just literally grew because I had that mixture of curiosity. How did they do this? And aggravation. Now, along the way, if someone said, hey, I want to go and, sing with the rock band Journey, or I want to play drums with Guns N' Roses, or I want to go down and see the wreck of the Titanic with James Cameron. If all I had to do was to do that in order to get an hour's conversation with one of the most powerful people in the planet, I did it.
I mean, you had to be somewhat connected to do that,
Nope.
though.
Nope. Absolutely. That's the first thing that is people go, oh, your dad must have been the King of England or something. I had no connections whatsoever.
You're just a hustler. just
way up.
figured it-
Way
yeah.
up. Do you know the funny thing is, people are scared to ask.
Yes.
You know, we are naturally terrified of that word no, but it's never given anyone a cut lip. It's never knocked you on your back. It doesn't hurt, you know? But when you go up to people and you go, hey, I'd really love to be able to do this. What's got to happen in order? So for a start, you're not asking a question that they
You're
can
offering,
say no to.
right? Is that-
Exactly.
yeah, you're offering.
So you're not asking that yes or no question. What needs to happen in order for you to close down the Accademia de Galleria in Florence and allow me to open up a dinner table of 6 at the feet of David and then get Andrea Bocelli to come in and serenade him? That's all stuff that I've done because quite simply I asked. And then later on, I realized that so many people are terrified.
Ask.
Just imagine what you could get if you dared to ask.
Wow.
So what's one of your favorite things that you've been asked, you asked and you got done?
Well, that's probably one of my favorite because it was so out of the realm of me. You know, being a East London biker, for me to actually be able to close down the Accademia de Galleria in Florence, because a client quite simply said to me, I want an amazing dining experience in Florence. What could you do?
Oh,
Now, the trouble is, you mentioned the title of the book, Go for Stupid. So many people go for what they feel they can achieve.
Mm.
You don't push yourself, you know? But what if you start by dreaming? You know, what fantastical thing could I do? So when someone said, I want an amazing dining experience, I'm not thinking of a restaurant. I'm thinking, what can I close down? What can I take to it? And I thought to myself, if you're going to be in Florence,
Florence. David.
thank you.
David.
Getting a table of 6, set up at the feet of David and having a beautiful meal at the feet of the most iconic statue on the planet, I'm going to ask. And I did. And they said, yes, it sounds great. So,
Wow.
and of course, once I had that, like all entrepreneurs, we go, well, that's not enough. What can I do now? and luckily at the time I was working with Elton John. So I went through those connections and I knew that Andrea Bocelli lived in Tuscany because, hey, we've all got a phone in our pocket and we can all Google. And I found out he lived there. And so I got someone to connect me and did it. So it's always connection upon connection. And it's a ladder. Nobody walks onto the roof. It's all those little steps in the middle that get you there.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't have the connections, but I did have the tenacity.
You know, listening to you, it's super inspiring. It's just a good reminder, I think, for all of us. But it reminds me of a couple quotes that I was given a long time ago. One is you tend to end up where you aim.
Yep.
And if you never aim there, you're never going to get there.
Right.
So you aim high or higher than high. And
higher than most, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, just the imagination.
Yeah.
Just the imagination.
But I'm curious, where did you get the gumption to aim that high, to aim that crazy or aim that stupid? That didn't come out of nowhere for you.
No, I'm very lucky that I had nothing. And I think that's where I'm fortunate. You know, when people, have good connections, they have a good job, all of these people, they don't like that job, but hey, I get paid on Friday. Better the devil, I'm going to stick to this rut. I was on a building site and I could see my dad, my cousins, my uncle, my granddad still on that building site. And I'm like, that's not me. And my granddad, massive fella. And I'm on about, I think he was 7'1".
Whoa.
Big Irish lad. When he came in, it was like an eclipse.
Uh-huh.
Funny thing was, my dad was 5'5".
Whoa.
Yeah, we were
There's some genes mixed up in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
we were-
No kidding. Yeah.
I think the mums needed to tell the real stories, what was going on. But my granddad, I remember seeing him on a building site, and this was actually in one of the phrases in my book. And I saw him on this building site, and he's in his late 70s, and he's old, and I'm a teenager, and he's working in this raining building site, and it just didn't make sense to me. And I remember running up to him, and it's clear as day. I can still smell it. I ran into this little caravan because it was raining and everyone was having their cups of tea at tea break, just trying to warm up off the building site. And I said, Granddad, did you ever think you'd be doing this at your age? Now, that's quite a rude thing to ask someone in reflection. Teenagers, we don't think. And he literally didn't even look at me. But all he said was, son, if you don't quit today, you'll be me tomorrow.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And that hit.
Wow.
I quit that day.
Wow.
And then went and applied for 1,000,001 jobs that I was inadequate for. And I learned how to get fired a lot. But I still kind of like, hang on a minute, there's got to be someone else. And a friend of mine, Joe Polish, once said, the definition of hell is to meet the man or woman you could have been.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, I want to be the person that other person meets.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm going to take every shot, every chance. My mortgage is fine. My house is fine. My life is good. I got a bunch of motorcycles, enough bourbon on the shelf, I'm happy. But if I don't try to become better than I am today, in 6 months, I've wasted that time. And time is the only thing you can't grab off of Amazon. So I'm not willing to let a moment go. That's why today, when I heard I was doing this keynote over at Ocean Prime, just down the road from here on the Strip, and you said, hey, can you come? I'm like, hell yeah, why wouldn't I? I'd love to go in and hang with you.
Of course, about the title, go for stupid, because I'm like trying to wrap my head around it a little bit, right? Like, so are you saying the things that you were looking to do, people were just like, come on, you're stupid. That's not going to happen. Is that that was it?
Well, that's one of the contexts.
Part of it, yeah.
That's one of the contexts. So when have you ever tried to do something and it's been an all-day fight? You know?
I have 2 teenagers, so quite often, actually.
Well, perfect example, okay? Knock them down from the teenager status back into the kids. You know, I don't care how tough you are, you can only fight for a few minutes. You know, professional boxers, 2-3 minute rounds, then they have a break, and then it's another 2. You can only fight for a certain amount of time. But how long can you play? You can play all day. Elon Musk says we gamify absolutely everything we do, and then it's just playtime. You know, so for me, if I'm sitting there and I have these people going, oh, I'd like you to do this. Oh, but it's impossible. Well, that makes it a chore.
Right.
Yeah.
If I now make it a game, what's the most stupid thing I can do here? You want a dining experience in Florence? How can I play with this?
Yeah.
You know, dream and then achieve.
You've worked with some amazing people. I'm curious, what are the biggest things you teach them with this attitude of play and go for stupid? And what have they taught you? What have you learned?
I love that question.
Yeah, that's a great one. So understand that everything I did for them was only means for me to be able to go and be with them. Okay. So I wanted to be the solution to that problem. And their problem was they wanted a cocktail story. They wanted to do something that was just crazy.
Right.
I was in there to make it happen. So I learned a lot more off of them than they got out of me. You know, I just gave them a drum lesson with Guns N' Roses or, you know, got them to meet Elton or whatever. But I would always go up. And of course, once I'd asked like the same question 2 or 3 times, I'd then change the question. I noticed a few things. They are relationship heavy. You know, they are relationship heavy. You hear the classic line, oh, let's play golf. Or let's discuss that over dinner. They want to get to know you, not the project. The project may be brilliant, but if it's provided to you by a crook, it's still a bad thing to be in. So they're relationship heavy. They also don't care about money, which was probably the most arrogant thing that I first heard, you know, and I realized that I don't ever want to hang around with poor people. Now, there's a lot of people go, well, that's offensive. Poor mentality leads to poor financial, poor opportunity, poor status, poor opportunity. If you've got a poor mentality, that's what you're going to end up with.
Right.
So I really focused. I only want to work with successful people, and they focus on the impact. What can I do with this time? Now, if you ever offer money to someone that's got impact and money, they won't care. They focus on the impact and what can be done. The only people that care about having a conversation about money, poor people. So time, relationship, and the relationship to money and time was what I learned from those affluent people. For me, I like to believe that they realize that they can do anything. And I had my concierge company for 25 years. And, you know, finally got rid of it because, you know, felt as though I'd learned a lot. And then my first book came out and quite honestly surprised me because I thought my first book was going to be a flop.
It was great.
Well, I'm asking you bluntly, no ego. Was there anything difficult in that book?
No.
It's not rocket science, is it? But it's everything people avoid. You know, they will spend a fortune on gifts, on Facebook adverts, rather than just having a conversation with one person. You know, everyone's out there trying to catch 1 million followers rather than having 10 conversations around a bar. You know, that's what I focused on. And when I wrote the book, I thought to myself, no one's going to believe this. And I had some very powerful people going, you know, you reminded me to stick to the basics. And if you think about anything, you've got teenagers, whether it be soccer, hockey, martial arts, painting, playing golf, whatever it is. What do they always say? Stick to the basics. Always go back and refine the perfect swing, the perfect punch, the perfect stroke. Back to basics is what works. My whole focus was on I'm creating impact by sticking to the basics. And I was stunned at some of the people that have come to me going, do you know, we thought about this. We had a meeting. We're not doing this. And mate, I'm not talking about like, you know, startups, major icons that were like, do you know, we forgot about doing that. and we walked away, we're now doing that again. And I'm like, this is crazy.
It's so funny. For the course of the day, we've had a lot of conversations, and I can't think of one that did not involve the word relationships today.
It's more important than ever, you know, because naturally today, we don't trust. We don't trust people. We don't trust media. You know, if you had a front page article in Forbes tomorrow, people would go, oh, you bought that, because it's just naturally cynical. You look at someone's Instagram page, and of course, you know, everyone's perfect on Instagram, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, but we don't trust. So when you get into a relationship and the relationship starts with a conversation, we actually lock and load, because at the end of the day, no matter how advanced we are as a species, we want to connect with people. That's why you have this podcast. People listen to this podcast because they're the kind of Hogwarts. They're the weirdos. Those are the people that go, hey, I want something better and I need someone to talk to that doesn't laugh at me. This podcast are the kind of people that I need in my life. So we naturally desire to connect,
Right.
but we don't trust. So when you can have that relationship, people are like, I want it, and they hold on to it tighter now.
Right.
Yes.
That's so
Yes. So you have a podcast, right?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, come on. Tell us about it.
It's
What's
my
the name?
It's called The Art of Making Things Happen, and I laugh because it's my excuse to be able to just have interesting conversations.
Is it with guests, or it's your narrative?
Sometimes it's just me ranting about something that peed me off that Tuesday.
That's great.
But you know, I've had some major icons on there. You know, Roland Frazier, Jim Quick, Jay Abraham. You know, big business people. But I had Sammy the Bull Gravano, the hitman to the mafia. I had the #1 requested prostitute on there recently. I had this wonderful girl on there that's one of the last remaining voodoo priestesses.
Ooh,
wow.
On misinformation.
I like how that worked.
Yes,
about,
yeah,
by
yeah,
the way.
yeah,
We're like,
yeah. Wait, what is that? Wait, what?
Yeah. I just want to use it as an excuse to have an interesting conversation with people to go, well, how do you do that? How do you see that? How, you know, like talking to a mafia hitman about relationships and standing up for your word. And funny enough, this word that kept on coming up in the interview, consequences.
The world could use a few more of those right
But they
now.
don't now.
Right.
I
You
know.
You upset someone who you shouldn't upset. You know, a few years ago, you knew it because you got a slap if you were lucky.
You found
you
out.
know?
Yeah.
You found out. But now so many people will just kind of like, you know, be eating their Cheerios, jump on the Instagram and go, well, you look fat, and then go on about that day,
Yes.
not understanding that it may have just hurt that person.
It's very
Yeah.
easy to hide behind social
It's-
media, I
yeah.
think is what it is.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting, something that you said that's like resonating with me, and I don't think you actually said the specific words, but I'm getting it from you. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Is that you also really appreciate learning about new and different people. And even if they're not necessarily at your level, right? Because I one time met this gentleman who said he will not be on a panel or on a show with somebody if their resume is not up to his standards. And I was like, we're never, ever talking again. Right. But I feel like you are somebody who'd be like, wow, I can learn from anybody out there. There's something that people know. And like, you're happy to help elevate other people who are not quite where you are yet. Am I right in that, or am I not getting that from you?
I'm not anywhere. I'm still a curious, aggravated 5-year-old.
I love that,
You
though.
know, I want to know what happens when you push this button or when you kick that box. You know, that is me. I went to a party, and I don't go out to a lot of parties. I really don't. But a friend wanted me to come to this damn thing, and it was all very poncy and poofy, and it was in Beverly Hills, and very much not me. And a lot of showboats. And
Beverly Hills, shocked.
yeah, it's shocker.
Shocking.
But I turned up at this party, and I went in, did me bit, did me wave, spoke to a couple of people, left. I don't think the car was cold. I'd borrowed the wife's car, and I think I'd been in there for maybe 20 minutes. But a lot of people were still turning up. So the valet guy couldn't get my car because he had to do this. So he was talking to me and he was apologizing. And I was like, "Look, don't worry about it, mate. You know, just do it." He started talking to me, and he had just come off of a failed printing company.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up conversing. And do you know, the funny thing is, we actually went down into the car park and just sat on the curb. I think I spent an hour and a half with that guy. And that guy was a mountain of knowledge on what not to do in a business.
Wow.
And he was so educated. And I was like, well, why are you not doing it anymore? And he was like, because it failed. No, it didn't. It educated you. You learned so much. The only way you can be a loser is if you don't take that education and light it up. Because you're now educated. You know, that's what a lot of people don't have. I'm proud to say that he is. He went back.
Nice.
He said, yeah, I'm really, but
Good for you.
I spent an hour and a half with that guy, just chatting with him because he had all the knowledge. And I liked that.
And how many people didn't get their car though because of the hour and a half conversation?
And I don't care.
Many people.
I don't care. It wasn't a party that I had any plans on ever going back in. But this guy, I'm proud to call him a friend, and we still stay in contact. So I'm thrilled that he actually took that.
You're changing one life at a time.
Yeah.
I
That's
like
right.
that.
Yeah, I think we all should, shouldn't we? I'm hoping someone, on each one of your podcasts today went, do you know I can?
Yes.
And that's all you want, isn't it? Don't you want to, like when you write a book and you get a note and someone says, because I read this paragraph, I did.
Yeah.
And that's what surprised me. And I was like stunned when people actually would. And again, it ain't hard. It ain't difficult. You just got to show you can.
What's the Speakeasy?
The Speakeasy is
Yeah,
my
tell us.
excuse as a mastermind. I want to grow my education. So I was going to so many masterminds, but every mastermind that I would go into, it was in like the Marriott Hotel, and it started at 9, and this person came on at 9:30, and this person at 11, and then there was lunch, and then there was a cocktail, and it would lay out this agenda. And you would base your attendance on who was
agenda.
going. Yeah, on the agenda. But how many times have you gone to an event because so-and-so was speaking, but then the person that spoke at 9 o'clock in the morning that you would never have listened to
Was way better.
Yes.
Yes.
So
All the
I thought to
time.
myself, why don't we stop focusing on the agenda and start focusing on the problem? So we decided to set up a speakeasy. And again, you're not going to find out anything about it, but go to simspeakeasy.com and you'll realize what a joke this is. We literally just go, hey, we're in New York for 2 days, $2,000.
Wow.
And that's it.
Wow.
And people sign up. And when they sign up, we contact them and we go, what is the one problem you would like gone by the time you leave in 2 days?
That's
And we hear
fantastic.
that. And so we're focused. And then I go into my little phone and I go, okay, this person's an expert in this person. And I bring them in to answer that problem. So I'm focused. I can guarantee it. We've never done them. Nothing against the Marriott, but never going to do them at a conference center.
That's not your style.
It's where great ideas go to die, isn't it? We've done it in the Tesla plant in Fremont. We did it in the Bunny Ranch in Reno. We've done it in film studios. We did it in Frank Sinatra's music studio in Hollywood. We did it in a beach house in Venice. They're always in these weird kind of
Have you done it
eclectic,
in any
crazy places.
speakeasies?
Yeah.
No, we've never. The after parties have been in
speakeasy.
speakeasies,
Yeah.
but we try to limit the amount of alcohol during the day.
What was your favorite location that you held one?
The next one,
Good answer.
Two things happen every time I finish a speakeasy. We did one in New Orleans, and we had the voodoo priestess come in, and I literally went, I'm never going to be able to top this. I had some amazing people in it. It was colorful. It was fun. I'm never going to. We did it above the old Absinthe House.
Oh,
Bourbon
so
Street.
cool.
So it was a
Nice.
cool environment, cool food, cool people. And I went, that's it. I'm never going to be able to replicate this. And then I did it in Venice Beach. And I had Jay Abraham. I had a gang leader turn up. I had the head of Alpine Star Marketing and Media about influencer. So I had all these. But bearing in mind, none of the attendees know these people are going to turn up.
Right.
Yes.
So not
That's what
showing
I
up
love.
for the
That's
other
what I love.
attendees.
Yeah, I love
cool.
that.
So
I love
again,
that.
at the end of Venice, I went, I'm never doing this again and the next one's in New York and we're already looking pretty crazy for that. So it's just my idea of reversing the mastermind to focus on your problem, not on the people.
Well, it's exactly what you were doing in the concierge,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Somebody wants to have an amazing experience, an unforgettable experience. They want the best cocktail story ever, right?
Yep.
And you provide it. So you're a problem solver. That's who you are. And your curiosity sounds like your curiosity is the key for this incredible problem solving ability.
And
just
his
this-
chutzpah. He's got some
Yeah,
chutzpah
he's
there
got
as
some
well.
chutzpah too. Sure, of course. Really impressive.
I've always said that I plan the trips I want to go on and you just come along.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely going on one. I'm definitely. That's the first thing I'm going to do after this interview.
right.
Going to Sims.
When is your next one coming up?
York, you said, right?
Yes, New York, 30th of September and the 1st of October. So we got 2 days in a really cool location in Soho. Yeah.
I just love the sense of mystery, and it's not online, and it's in person, and you show up. There's intrigue going on here.
I never thought, it's been going for 7.5 years.
Wow.
Okay. And I never thought, because I thought to myself, because we all think we've got a bit of a following, we all think we've got a bit of clout, bit of credibility. And I wanted to test mine. So my first ever event that I did is I said, spend 2 days with me in San Diego. I'll tell you where once you made the payment. Here's a PayPal link for $2,000. That was on Facebook. That was the first one I ever did. And I had like 12 people sign up.
Wow.
And I was like,
That's cool.
why are you doing it? And they're like, because I think you'll surprise, challenge. And I was like, And then so we've always done that. So if you're going to that website and you think you're going to see all of these long details of which, nope. People don't even know where it is until 72 hours prior. They know what hotel to book, so they're close.
Or something. Yeah. Okay.
Once you book, we say, grab this hotel or something close to it because we're in that vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
But no, 72 hours prior, we go, this is where you need to be on Monday morning at 8:00.
Love that.
That's
Oh,
so
you start
amazing.
early. Like-
oh, yeah.
But they don't start drinking until later.
Yeah. He's holding back the liquor for a while.
We
Just a
start
little
at
bit.
9, but a lot of people like to turn up because, again, you think about it, you've got to, and they're always topped out at 40. We never go over 40 people. You've got 40 people that have no idea who they're going to meet, what they're going to do for 2 days. That leads to a great pool of people that are comfortable with being uncomfortable and also agitated enough to do something about it.
I was just thinking, do you have to screen people, but they kind of self-screen?
Well, we do both. Yeah. One of them is you get a lot of people going, can you tell me who's going to be there? No,
Nope,
don't bother
done.
applying.
Right.
And then we get people signing up going, I don't know what, can you tell me anything? No, but we can tell you if you're aggravated enough and you've got a problem, tell me what the problem is and I'll let you know whether or not you should come.
Mm-hmm.
Like the closer you get to the event, you've already got your speakers.
Right.
So if you turn around and go, I really want to be doing X,
and you're only talking about Z.
yeah. And if I haven't got those people in the room, I'm going to go, do you know, I don't have the person that's going to solve your problem on this one. So I can do two things. I can carry you on to the next one, or I can just refund you. And we do that. So we screen and communicate with every single person that's applied. So before they get there, we know why you're there. We know the kind of character you are. You get let into a private Facebook group. So we're conversing with you, so by the time you get there, you're family.
What are some of the problems they bring to you?
Well, let's be serious. You could ask 100 entrepreneurs, what's that problem?
You get 200 different answers.
No, no, you'll get the same 10.
Right.
Oh,
I
wow.
know that. Yeah,
Every entrepreneur wants to know either how to scale or how to exit, how to get the right kind of clients rather than the clients they're getting, how to brand, how to release a book, how to start a podcast, how to get on a podcast, how to learn to speak, how to speak on stages, how to get paid. So it's always the usual suspects.
Right.
But every now and then we'll get someone come along and they'll be like, look, I'm looking to, we had someone said we're looking to crowdsource our project and we're looking to crowdfund it. And I had to go out and find someone that specialized in crowdfunding so that they could come in and answer that question. But most of the time it's the same kind of questions. You want the freedom, you want richer clients, you want the right kind of clients rather than the ones you get. You want to brand properly, you want to stand out in your industry, those kind of things. So we've got the collective people that can come in and challenge you.
You're making a business out of being a fairy godmother.
Right.
People throw a wish out there and you make it happen.
I identify as a fairy godmother now, do I? Is that what you're saying?
Didn't mean it quite that way.
Oh my God.
You'd be very pretty, right?
Thank you. Yeah, let's move on. I like to, I get aggravated where people settle, and I mean this seriously. I'll go out with someone and I'll have a drink. And if they order a drink and there's like too much ice in their drink or their drink's not very well made or something like that, I'll literally look at them and I go, you're going to sell for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be rude. You can go, excuse me, this isn't quite how I wanted it. Could you remake it for me, please? Usually what they do is they get one of the other mixologists or bartenders to remake it because maybe they're just learning, you know? But how you settle on anything is your benchmark for how you'll settle for everything. So you could be at McDonald's and if you get some chili fries, just go, look, I'm sorry. Can I wait until the next batch is being done? Or you get a lukewarm coffee. Do you mind if I wait until how you set your standards will be the establishment for everything. And also people will want to live to your standards. So I don't settle for second best and I never, ever will.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
I could continue
Yeah.
this conversation
I
all day.
know,
Yeah,
bro.
I was
Right.
going to say, like, I gotta up my level. I gotta up my game after talking to you.
Well, I know who's going to your next speakeasy.
There you
So
go.
right here. So, unfortunately, I have to wrap up the episode for today, but where can people find more information? I know you already shared a little bit more, but let's recap. Steve D. Sims is
Yeah.
your actual website.
Well,
And
it's everything.
It's
You know,
everything.
wherever
Social media.
Yeah, well, no, that's seriously. You want to be impossible to misunderstand today, don't you? So, I am Steve D. Sims. Anyway, you consume your media. TikTok, Instagram, I'm probably more vocal on. So if you want to reach out to me on Instagram at Steve D. Sims and go, hey, I heard it on this brilliant episode, then please do. But you've got the website and those are the medias.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
flying and
been
being
an
a
honor.
part of it
Super fun.
today. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
And those of you that are watching this episode, definitely connect with Steve D. Sims. Come out to the next Speakeasy, apply for the experience, follow him on social media. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe to the channels, and we'll see you in the next episode.